Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. I am your science teacher with the Zoom online lecture number 4. It is the summary, and today I am going to start a new unit, that is unit number 4. The life cycles of animals. This unit is on page 37 of your book. Dear students, as you know that all living things need food. All living things grow, all living things excrete, all living things move from one place to another. Now, today I am going to discuss another characteristic, and that is all living things reproduce. Reproduce means all living things has the ability to make copies of themselves, to produce the young ones. In short, I can say all living things make their own babies. Now, there are different ways in which a baby is formed. Some are born from the egg, some animals give birth to the babies, etc. Now, different animals change in different ways. Some animals are born looking like their parents. For example, when a kitten is born, you can judge by looking at the kitten that it is the baby of a cat. You can recognize it. Similarly, when a puppy is born, you can imagine that it is the young one of a dog. Then there are other animals which do not. These animals might change their shape or color as they grow. See this example. This is the young one of a frog. Does it resemble the mother frog? No, not at all. It is somewhat like a fish. So it means some of the babies which are born, they look like their parents, and others do not. Okay. The way an animal changes with age is a part of its life cycle. All the stages through which a living thing passes is known as the life cycle. Now, I am going to show you the life cycle of an adult life cycle of a human being. See, this is the first stage, and that is the baby. Now the baby changes to a toddler in a year or two. Then after some years, he or she becomes a teen, means under 16-17 age, he or she is called in a teenage. Then after a few years, he becomes an adult, and later on he grows older and older, and ultimately he or she dies. So all these stages are known as the life cycle of human, right? Now today I am going to discuss different life cycles of some animals, and I hope you will enjoy them very much. Okay, number 1, the life cycle of a frog. Okay. Dear students, I'm sure you all will be very curious about the life cycle of this frog. You know that frogs are amphibians. What are amphibians? Amphibians are those animals which lay eggs in water. The baby frogs hatch out in the water, but later on in the adult stage, when it grows older, it comes out of the water. So frogs can live both in water as well as on land. Okay, now I'll just discuss the different stages which go on in the life cycle. Life cycle starts with when the female frog lays the eggs. Hundreds of eggs, they are generally laid in a pond. These eggs float on the surface of the water. They are coated with a jelly-like substance which forms a protective layer over these eggs. In spite of this protective layer, still many of the eggs are destroyed by the water, by the rain, or by the wind, etc. These jelly-like eggs are called the spawn. Now what happens that after a few days, baby frogs known as the tadpoles, what are they called? The tadpoles, they hatch out from the eggs. Does this tadpole, the baby frog, looks like the mother frog? No way. It looks quite different from this mother frog. Now what happens? It feeds on the little plants that are by their side, and the first thing it eats is that the yolk of these eggs if it is remaining. So it eats that yolk, and later on it eats the small plants. As time passes, the tadpole develops the hind legs. It also develops the gills. Gills are the organs of respiration in water. Gills are also present in the fish. Now these gills are produced, or they are formed. The hind legs are also formed, and it starts growing because it eats more and more plants in the water. Then after a few weeks, what happens that the tadpole somewhat look like a frog then. At this stage, it is called the froglet. See, if you just hide the tail, you can see that this stage quite looks like the adult frog. Now, this froglet, in froglet, what happens that the four limbs appear and the gills start disappearing. And instead of the gills, how will it respire? Lungs are produced. The tail also becomes smaller and smaller, and eventually it falls down. Okay, three things happens. The tail falls down, four limbs means the front limbs or legs are produced, and also the gills disappears and lungs are produced. So now this stage is called the froglet, and the next stage, at froglet stage, what happens? It hops out of the water. It hops out means it jumps out of the water and it comes on the land, and now it enters into the adult stage, and now it is ready to lay the eggs again. It means this is one of the full life cycle of a frog. Now I am going to discuss the life cycle of a fish. The life cycle of a fish consists of 4 stages. In your book, you have only 3 stages. The life cycle of a fish begins when the female fish lay eggs in the water. The baby fish that comes out of the eggs are called the larva, or they are also called the fry. In a few days, what happens? These fry or larvae, they grows into the juvenile fish. Juvenile fish is that fish which you can call them as a fish in the teen age. And finally, they become the adult. It's very simple. See, a fish lay eggs in water. From the in the water, what happens? Larva or fry, they emerges, and within few days after eating the nearby plants, etc., they become the juvenile fish, and after few days or in a couple of weeks, they change into the adult fish, which is ready to lay eggs of their own. So this is the life cycle of a fish. Okay. Now, as you know, that we all love the butterflies for their beautiful colored wings. But do you know that these butterflies begin life as something a completely different way? It so happens that it all starts when the adult butterfly lay eggs on a leaf of a plant. These eggs are of different shapes. They may be rectangular, oval, round also. Inside these eggs, the caterpillars grow. The small baby butterfly grows. They are called the butterfly. The butterfly leaves its eggs after some time. This is the next stage. This is the caterpillar. It is called the caterpillar. Caterpillar are also called the larva. When they come out of the eggs, they are very hungry and they just start eating the leaf on which these eggs were laid. Now what happens that after some time, These caterpillars, they form a protective coat over them. Coat means a hard covering over them. And this is called the pupal stage, and now the caterpillar is known as the pupa. Then what happens? After some time, the hard covering bursts. This is the pupal stage and it is also called the chrysalis. What happens? The hard covering, it bursts and young butterflies comes out of it. These young butterflies has wet wings, but when the wings get dry, it starts flying, and this stage is called the adult stage. Now the cycle is complete and it is ready, this butterfly is ready to start all over again. Now I am going to discuss the life cycle of a bird. Almost all the birds have the same life cycle but with different time period. Today I am going to discuss the life cycle of a hen, or you can call it as a chicken. This is a hen. It lays eggs in the nest. 20 eggs or 15 eggs. I haven't counted them, it depends on the hen, but these eggs are laid in the nest. What happens that this hen, it sits on the eggs to provide a suitable temperature to it. Inside the egg there is a small baby embryo, you can call it a baby or an embryo. It starts growing, eating the yolk and the white of the egg. Then within 3 weeks, 3 weeks means 21 days, it so happens that a small baby chick comes out of the egg. You know, the baby chick is bald and blind at that time. Bald means it has no feathers on it. It has no feathers on it. And blind means it cannot see. So if it cannot see, what happens? The mother hen, it feeds these chicks. Then in a week or 2, now it becomes a bit bigger and it is able to feed itself. Then about 3 months, now the chick develops into or changes into an adult stage, and this adult hen is again ready to lay the eggs, and this is the life cycle of a hen. I hope you have understood all the life cycles of animals, and it is quite interesting. This is the end of today's lecture. See you next time.